All right. What's up, traders? What's up, tycoons? Coming at you guys with a viewer request. We're going to look at Fuelcell today. Okay. Ticker symbol FCEL. This is an old favorite of mine, so it was nice to actually see this as a viewer request. We're going to break down the weekly chart. All right. We have some things here seeing on the weekly chart developing that I like. All right. We're also going to go into the daily time frame. Okay. Break things down on the daily chart. And we're going to use today's sponsor, Simply Wall Street, to also briefly go into the fundamentals of the stock and take a look at how the fundamentals and how it looks from a fundamental standpoint, right? So not only will we cover the technicals, we'll also dive into some fundamental analysis. Now, remember, the content provided in this YouTube channel is for informational and educational purposes only and is not intended to be relied upon as legal, financial, or investment advice. Myself and any individuals that appear on this YouTube channel are not registered financial advisors or brokers. Trading in stocks, bonds, commodities, and crypto involve a significant risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Now, this right here is the daily time frame. Okay. So if you're not familiar, markets tend to move in about 3-wave and 5-wave structures. So, if we take that into account, we can see, we had this bearish structure here, okay, that we were trading in, this bearish channel, very algorithmic selling right here, that we're seeing controlled selling, controlled buying. And we got a strong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Okay. And typically after you get your 5 waves, you get what's known as an ABC correction, right? You get a 1, 2, 3 correction wave. Okay. And that correction wave will ultimately, get you started for perhaps the next move down. Now, this doesn't have to only be an ABC. This could turn into a new impulsive wave of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That's definitely possible. But for now, we are looking for some type of an ABC bounce, in Fuelcell. Okay, that's particularly what I'm looking at right now on the daily time frame. Okay, so we broke out of this bearish structure here, this bearish channel that we had. All right, you can see we actually got a little bit of a breakout retest, and of this channel that we're trading in, and we did a really good job of holding above there currently. And we're going to see if we can possibly come up to the 281 to 299 price levels on Fuelcell sometime in the near future. Now, there's a couple things that we need to be cautious of, right? So specifically, we have these levels right here. These are our major fib retracement levels. And if we end up breaking through here, right, we come up and we start to consolidate and break through these, there's a very strong chance that we're going to come down and retest our previous lows here, at $2 and possibly even, $1.77, if not go lower. So you need to pay close attention to 196, 209, 219, and 229. Those are my major support levels, right? And as I mentioned, if we break through there, very strong chance we're going to come back down and retest. Now, when it comes to momentum, if we look at our momentum indicator right now, okay, we are above 0, which indicates bullish and positive momentum, but it is starting to curl down now, right? And if we get this momentum crossover below the SMA here, the simple moving average, that's going to be a bearish signal, right? And if we get that bearish signal and momentum gets down below 0, there's a strong chance that we could break those retracement levels and end up, getting that move down. We also need to watch out on the MACD for the same exact thing. If we get a bearish crossover, as you can see, the MACD is already below 0. And if we get this bearish crossover here, that could be another exit signal as well. So I'll definitely be paying close attention to those two things in particular. All right, now let's go back to the weekly time frame. So breaking things down on the weekly, all right, we see here that we do have a pattern known as a falling wedge, right, indicated by these trend lines here, all right, and we're looking to see in a perfect world scenario that's going to take Fuelcell back up to where the pattern began, which possibly could take it to the 6.5 up to around the $7 region on Fuelcell, right? That would be, perfect world scenario. That would be how a falling wedge would play out. Now, we haven't gotten confirmation. We have not even broken out of the pattern yet. So it's just something that's in development that could change in the future and void this pattern out. Now, these are the major retracement levels to the upside of resistance. So what we really need to do is we really need to break out past these levels and be able to flip these to support. And that's when we can look for the chance of actually heading up, right? If we, let's say we do break out of here, but we, get stuck at 373 or 336, and we're not able to flip those to support from resistance, then there's a strong chance that this is all just a healthy retracement to ultimately continue heading back down lower, right? So on the larger time frames, these are the major resistance levels that I'm paying attention to right now. We have our MACD right here. We do have some bullish divergence forming on the MACD, right? So take a look how we're putting in these lows, these lower lows, and these lower lows. The MACD is actually making higher lows at these moments. We also have a slightly bullish divergence on the RSI. We have a low here, right? And then we have an equal low here. But if we see on the stock price, we have a low, we're making lower lows. So we are building a little bit of relative strength there and a little bit of bullish divergence. So now that we've looked at the charts a little bit, okay, let's use today's sponsor, Simply Wall Street, to dive into the fundamentals a little bit more. All right, so we're actually going to go to their website right now. They also have an app, but I am recording this on the computer, so we're going to take a look at their website. And it's really great because you can look up any stock that you want. So we just type in Fuelcell up here, click on Fuelcell, and it starts off giving you a nice overview, right? So it tells you some of the nice rewards, all right? And from a risk to reward standpoint, the revenue is forecast to grow 31.76% per year. But from a risk standpoint, earnings are forecast to decline by an average of 7.9% per year for the next 3 years. It's currently unprofitable and not forecast to become profitable over the next 3 years. And shareholders have been diluted in the past year. And there's this nice little snowflake analysis here. It kind of shows you, what parts that they have, some good possibilities in. And if you take a look, the financial health is the strongest sector, out of all of these, right? Now, we can dive into this a little bit more, right? The Simply Wall Street does give you the price history and performance, right? One thing I do want to mention is that to me, this is definitely something more of a trade that you would trade short term, as the long term returns have not been very well, right? If we look at the max, it's not a chart that's going up over the long run. Okay. Doesn't mean you can't trade short term, opportunities, whether it's long or short. They also give you plenty of news. If you take a look at the volatility, okay, it's above the average market volatility right here. Now, when it comes to the industry, its specific industry, it's slightly below volatility of the industry. Okay. So it's got a little bit more of a stable share price. It's not significantly more volatile than the rest of US stocks over the past 3 months, typically moving up or 9% a week. Now, to me, that's pretty volatile. All right. Now, from a valuation standpoint, it gets 0 out of 6, right? And it's going over the price to sales versus peers versus industry fair ratio. Is it below fair value? Is it significantly below fair value? And then they go to the analyst forecast. And what you can do is you can actually dive deeper, right? So you can click on those, and it's going to give you a nice visual and explain these things a little bit more. Now, what I want you guys to do is not only look up Fuelcell yourself, but I want you to use Simply Wall Street to, look up some of your favorite stocks, all right, and research them a little bit more than just charts, all right? And Simply Wall Street is really going to help you guys out. And if you use my link in the description or in the pinned comment below, you guys will get a 14-day free trial, and the first 100 people will also get up to a 40% discount on their on their purchase. Right now, Simply Wall Street is pretty affordable. It's not super expensive. It's like a couple $100, and you get to have access to it, and it's really, really useful and can perhaps save you more than just a couple $100. Right now, back to this data here, we see the price to sales ratio versus the peers. All right, the peer average is 1.2x, and Fuelcell here is at 7.2x. So it goes to show that their price to sales ratio is much higher than the peer average, significantly higher. Okay, if you look at the price to sales ratio versus the industry average is 1.8 and Fuelcell's is 6.7. So from those perspectives, it seems a little bit overvalued, right? We take a look at the price to sales ratio versus the fair ratio, and it's at 6.7x. It's got a fair price to sales ratio of 0.8x. So Fuelcell is expensive based on its price to sales ratio compared to the estimated fair price to sales ratio. All right, now you can take a look at more things here. They also have analyst price targets over here over the next 12 months. All right, and the average analyst price target is at 326. So that's going to be this purple line right here. And you can see, Fuelcell has really traded below the, analyst price targets for the next year. It's really been considerably just trading below. Now, the thing you have to ask is that because we're in a bear market and stocks have been, very bearish throughout 2022, is that still leading into 2023? Or, do you think that Fuelcell can hit some of these analyst price targets of about 326? We look at the future growth, all right, it's got a negative 7.9% earnings growth rate. We can click on here and dive a little bit further, all right, and let's click on some of the positives right here and click on the high growth revenue. And when you take a look at Fuelcell's revenue, it's forecast to grow faster than the US market, and their revenue is forecast to grow faster than 20% per year. We'll come here and take a look at the financial health, and that is Fuelcell's strongest point. From short-term liabilities, long-term liabilities, its debt level, reducing debt, a stable cash runway, and forecast cash runway. Fuelcell does get a lot of green checks there, right? And, of course, you can dive deeper into those. It's got a 12.9% debt to equity ratio. One thing I do want to mention about Fuelcell is that, Biden has putting out a plan, and this plan is going to give a lot of money and stimulate a lot of companies that are in the green energy sector. And so Fuelcell would be one beneficiary of that. And there is a possibility that some of these stocks will rise just from the fact of people chasing plays that are related and following stimulus, right? When you see stimulus of any kind, you can see stocks go up that are benefiting from that stimulus. And so there is the chance that, Biden's Inflation Reduction Act and, the stimulus that he's providing to the green sector and clean energy sector that could possibly benefit fuel cells. So I'm going to wrap up today's video there. All right. We dove into some of the technicals on fuel cell. We take a look at some of the fundamentals as well. Don't forget to use Simply Wall Street and use the link in the description or the pinned comment down below to get a 14-day free trial. All right. And you can, start using Simply Wall Street and check out all the stocks that you guys want, get a little bit more info from them. And rather than just trusting somebody else to tell you, they'll give you guys some really nice breakdowns. And then you also can get, for the first 100 people, you will actually be able to get a discount up to 40% on your purchase. So that's it. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'm out.